3, 2, 1, go.
They took the broadcast world by storm. The journalistic style of Super Action News, their characteristic reporting, blended in with humor, made them icons. Their controversies only gained them a larger following, with each episode riding on that ethical line.
I think there were times when some of the issues that you addressed were sort of on the edge of appropriate.
What started as a side project for 5 young students became something more. Their creativity took them on a wild journey through their senior year, impacting them all in a way they never expected. They faced the tough times, the good times, but they always came out on top. And as Super Action News prepares to say goodbye, the group and its fans look back at the ride.
I think Super Action News is really a step up from the normal news and views broadcast.
And that's recorded.
In the next few minutes, we take you through the flaming story that is Super Action News, the E! True Hollywood story.
Her life's ambition was to be a star. Could not
recover from the public scandal.
News and Views is an HKIS hallmark. With almost a decade of reporting history, the senior English option has entrenched itself in the school community. From that, each year tries to differentiate, to stand out from the pack. And stepping up to that plate was Super Action News.
Super Action News. Tyler segment, take 2.
Super Action News, or SAN, was initially an idea of Fish Pond reporter Stephen Keithley, who suggested it in November 2009 to his teachers, Richard Friedrichs and Janet Tan.
You threw out the idea of sort of Super Action News, a team that would come together somewhere early in the year and continue to work together on broadcasts that you wanted to keep as current as possible and as close to the edge as possible, which of course I love.
Keithley then found like-minded partners in Arthur Maitrey, Parker West, Tyler Young, and Alex Signac, all of whom shared his vision for something more than a normal broadcast.
So then Steven came up to me, told me that we were doing this, and I was just so down for it. We split up the roles. Parker was the anchor, entertainment, sports, all that kind of stuff.
With 5 very different people coming together, getting started was a challenge. Putting all these personalities together was a key goal, because if this was to succeed, they needed everyone in the same boat, a team, a unified force, and that was easier said than done.
Initially, for me, it was kind of awkward with the rest of the guys. The only person I really knew at first was Steven.
The first show was meticulously thought out, planned, scheduled down to a T. Anxiety ran high as most of the cast wondered what their first episode had in store for them.
The first night, we had a lot of technological issues. It was really challenging for us. We didn't really have a format to stick to because we were creating this whole thing.
Then came the moment of truth. Scripts were written, scenes were shot, clips were captured. Super Action News was now at a technical point. They would be the first to ever use Boinks TV, a new program for news and views. That required technical know-how. The initial burden shifted upon producer Alex Signac.
I've had experience with video editing. So when I was asked to do this, I said, okay, I guess.
It was a very long first night. New technology meant new problems, and resolving them was found to be a hard process.
Thankfully, we had Alex Signac with us, who was able to do a lot of the Boinks TV stuff that we needed. And it just took us a while to edit all the clips, put them all together, and work with them in a way that would create an episode that we could be proud of. An episode that had to be really good because it was our first one, and that would sort of make or break our reputation with the school.
However, Super Action News managed to make it through that first night, and although it was a late one, they managed to create an intro that would go on to serve them for the next 3 episodes, as well as the bulk of the first episode, the SAN Christmas special, and gaining acclaim from viewers.
At first, I completely had no idea what it was, but after the first episode, I was hooked.
And we're excited to get our first show up and running. So let's get right into it and go to Stephen Keith.
Super Action News started well, with a successful premiere to an interested audience. However, soon after the first episode, Christmas break and exams began. That meant the second episode would be delayed until mid to late January. Meanwhile, the Super Action News team took time off, brainstorming, planning for their next feature. Many ideas were floated among the crew, ranging from teacher profiles to alumni interviews to on-location stories. But only one new change was adopted.
Up there, so that I wouldn't have to go to a country, whether it's Ghana, Nepal, another country around the world, have to meet contacts, really network before I could start my project. With the help of Mr. Friedrichs, I could just kind of hit the ground running.
Super Action News found itself back in the studio in late January, preparing for its second episode. After the first, the team worried how exactly the second episode would stack up.
Well, when it came to our second one, there was definitely improvement. And I really felt that there's been improvement with each new episode we've done so far, each one getting better and better. But with the second one, we were able to do it in a lot less time, a lot better looking than it had before, and with a lot better plot lines.
Fortunately, the second episode of Super Action News premiered February 1st, 2010 to receptive audiences. Following that same note, the third episode of Super Action News showed during homeroom of March 2nd, 2010. By this point, Super Action News had already solidified their roles as providers of high quality of news and entertainment.
Super Action News is awesome.
At first I really didn't know what it was. Then I saw you guys like setting up a table in the middle of a road. Then I thought you guys were either kind of stupid or really funny. I think you're a bit of both, but it's really good. I like it.
However, on this same note, the cast themselves of Super Action News felt that they had reached a slump. As the interim break approached, the SAN team brainstormed further ideas, trying to come up with something to rejuvenate the SAN method.
Felt there was a slump around our third episode. That was probably the weakest episode in my opinion, because we really were kind of tired and we wanted to do something new and different. And we needed at least some time off to think. Because coming up with new stories so much and so often, that's really kind of a challenging thing. And dealing with that was something that we just had to learn to do.
Returning from interim with their creative juices flowing, Super Action News was back in prize form, scheduling the next episode in conjunction with the Hong Kong Rugby Sevens, formulating a new intro. The SAN team was back in action.
One of the most memorable moments for me was when I, just joking around with Steven, told him, I don't really want to do this anymore, I'm quitting. And Steven didn't really believe me at first, but then I kept going with the joke, and he really believed me after that. And I didn't really think he'd go anywhere with that, but I walk into broadcast journalism class later that day, and everybody is asking me, you don't want to do it anymore? Apparently he told everybody, the entire crew, Mr. Friedrichs, people were pretty pissed off at me. So I had to tell him I was joking, and that I actually enjoy doing this, so